Okay.
All right, it is 6:29. We're gonna call this meeting order. Today is Monday, August the 14th. Everyone please stand for the pledge of allegiance and invocation.
Our Father in heaven, we're thankful to be here. Please help our minds be strong and active that we may see the things on the budget that we need to address. Help us that we may constantly be aware of the need to do service for our fellow citizens, and that we may trim our budget in such a way that we can help our citizens. Father, we're thankful for all that thou bless us with, and we say this in the name of Jesus Christ. Amen.
And
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
any announcements?
The market, the movies in the park are this Saturday. We're saying 8:30 to get everybody out there, and then the movie will probably start about 9. Also, the EDC has the meet and greet on the 24th for businesses from 5 to 7.
24th.
24th.
5 to 7.
We'll have workforce out there and several other people to talk to the businesses.
Okay, but the movies, we're
Movies
gonna start gathering
Saturday,
at 7:30.
the movies on Saturday are at 8:30 to start, setting up, and then we'll start the movie actually at 9.
Okay. Anybody else? Nobody else? I want to take this moment to apologize to a couple of our council members that I was out of hand recently. I'm not going to name any names, but I sincerely hope that they know who they are. I spoke out of turn, spoke way out of line, and I apologize for that. It's my bad, and I'll see that doesn't ever happen again. But please accept my apology. Keep Tawakoni Beautiful is tomorrow night, Kim?
Yes.
Okay, they normally is on a Thursday night. It clashed with our scheduled budget workshop for Thursday, so they were nice enough to move theirs from Thursday to Tuesday. So we're having meetings, workshop today, Wednesday and Thursday is what we're scheduled so far. And I think that's just about it on announcements. Anybody else? Anybody? Citizens input. Alicia Lee.
Hi, my name is Alicia Lee. I I've owned property here in West Tawakoni for about 15 years. Moved down here about 5 years ago. And I'd like to address the three of you that made a derogatory, you laughed and made a derogatory statement. You haven't apologized for the statement that you made. It's unethical, shameless. You're a professional just like I am, a healthcare professional. You and I would have been fired. Don't speak to me, it's my time. You and I would have been fired. And if you'd have been in the public workforce, you would have been fired for making that statement. This is on YouTube. It's a public forum. It can never be erased. Never. It's there forever. And yet you three right there have never apologized. That family will probably distraught, probably like that person. You have seen this in the public health care, and I have too. We've both seen it. Those families are tore up whenever that happens to them. It's shameless. Really and truly, it's even borderline HIPAA. You know this and I know this. I'm also the HOA president of Arrowhead. This is my second term with them. I have 128 owners, 10 or so renters. 90% of them are over 65. Plus, we get a lot of visitors. We have a lot of family that come in. This is a very, very concerning thing that you spoke about. Really, really concerning. But another concern that I have is whenever you contact me, I wouldn't be here today had you not contacted me. You contacted me probably because I reached out to the hospital. I'm a healthcare professional, just like she is, just like he is. But you know, I asked you some questions, and now we're going to address the questions that I asked you about. I asked you about EMTs. Daryl can speak about EMTs. He owned an ambulance company. I asked you to tell me the names of the people that you have on your roster who are EMTs. Because of the people that I have in my community, 90% of them are over 65. You never gave me the names. I asked you for the names. You never gave them to me. I asked you, this is a question that I asked you. I asked you about the Texas certifications from the lowest level to EMTs, paramedics, and you told me that you have those in your roster. Well, you know what? I want you to tell us who they are. It's called checks and balances. I asked you concerning some financials, and we're here about the budget. I have your budget. I have this too that you sent, and I'm going to make this a part of the record because it's your statement that you made. In your statement, you said, our financials have been $5,000 to $10,000 in the bank most of the time. Both of my trucks, you're saying they're your trucks. Okay. So we have a fire department and they're your trucks. Are financed through the bank through my credit. Sir, let me tell you something. Arrowhead is a 501c3 too, just like you. I cannot commingle any funds. I can't put anything in my name. Everything has to be under that 501c3. So I'm asking you, sir, how are you doing that? Because I don't think it's legal. I think I'm getting in a lot of trouble. I have 9 board members that oversee me, that I have to go to ask questions, to get things done. But in your budget, where are the payments for the trucks that you say that you have?
We're kind of getting on over the 3 minutes.
Can I just have just a little bit more?
If someone will yield you their time, that would.
Will you yield me the time?
Let her have her time.
Huh?
Let her have her time. She
Okay.
deserves it.
Go ahead.
Okay. Both of the trucks, he said he probably owes $150,000. Where are the payments on them? Because you know what? I looked at it and I don't see that in your budget. So you know what? I think they're checks and balances, Chris. And I want to tell you right now, either the volunteer fire department is volunteer for all the citizens, and it's not a Chris Burkett fire department. And I'm asking you to come up, tell us who the city, who are your certified EMTs? I wanna know who they are, because I'm gonna check them out. Another thing that I saw where you have your 5013 and you have your address listed right here in the IRS. I can't do that, so how are you doing that? Because everything has to go on a 501, has to go to their post office. Everything falls under the 5013. It cannot mingle with my address or my information. But see, sir, you contacted me. I didn't contact you. So because of that, I wanted my statement in public. Thank you for your time.
I have a statement. I'm embarrassed over the lack of professionalism and incompetence our mayor and his wife have exposed over the past week by pandering on this in social media. They have made assumptions and accusations without obtaining the facts, and in so doing have violated the ethics of the council. Let me just say my conscience is clear because I did not hear the remark at all. I was moving around here and
Ma'am, you were
Listen,
sitting down right there.
I was
And
not. I was not. And had gotten up, he had made the comment that I want to play some more. So that was what I was smiling at. I did never hear the other comment until I went back and looked at the thing. So as a health professional, you're right. I would have been a little bit disturbed to hear that, but I did not.
Okay.
And, you know, the thing about it is we all should be ashamed of ourselves for pandering this over social media. And yes, I'm sure it did hurt other people that are out there that have dealt with that, myself included, because I've had that in my family also. Now, let me also say this.
Let's
That
give
we-
her after the meeting. One ain't supposed to be responding, period, much less talking about it.
Yes, but I have the right to defend myself.
Well, you know what? I have
in
free
city
speech,
council,
too.
You don't. Not only council, you don't. I'm sorry, but we can't respond. That's what you're doing.
I will make you a copy of this.
Well, you know what? I wanna make a copy of it. I want this into that. This is his contact with me.
Do you have anybody to make up? Okay, just give it to her. Any other announcements or input, citizens input? Anybody? All right, moving right along to the budget workshop for water sewer general fund. I guess it's page 1. It says City of Tawakoni dash water, and under it says proposed budget. I'm gonna wait for Michael to get back because I got a lot of questions on this. Give me just a second,
On this sheet here, is this come out of the quick budget, you putting that over in a spreadsheet?
With the spreadsheet in Excel.
Okay, this is coming out of Excel. Cause it would be nice to have had those actuals with the 8/11 date on it instead of 6/21. Makes it real hard to.
I'm sorry, he's the one that can answer the questions. Was Annette, not Annette. Kim may be able to, but. All right. Michael, we didn't even started yet. We're getting started now.
Yes,
I just got a few questions on line item 125-201, 125-2105.1 sewer billing. Shows an increase of $278,000. The one below it, penalties, we've got budgeted 101, almost 102,000. Down at your very bottom, at, line item 12-52-000, which is income accounts / plus carryover is over $500,000 difference. Where is this math coming from?
I have the same question.
Well, let me go back up to sewer billing.
Well, sewer billings, that's the one the first one, 278,000. No, I'm sorry.
No, that's
201.
So the actuals right now is 233,546, and of course, we still have another month and a couple weeks, so we got about 6 more weeks of billing to go, which we won't get the accurate numbers until the second week of October.
Right, but isn't that that's kind of a long shot to end up with $500,000 over budget for income? I mean, I don't see that happening in 6 months, much less 6 weeks.
Well, I would remind you, and I'm not saying that that's an accurate number, I did not do the small portion. I did expenses, but I will say this, August and September is the bulk of the revenue for water sewer. So
Right.
what you would get in September is 3 times that of March, April, May. So it's up there. Now, this year, I will say that water consumption has gone down about 40%. So it's a little alarming. So sewer also goes down a little bit.
Right.
There's something I had that Michael and I talked about it, and I think I may have mentioned it at council before. I would like for us as a city at some point figure out, a lot of your other cities will do a way where they set your sewer rate, right? Because if you think about it, your sewer never really changes in your house. I mean, unless people change. So what a lot of the other cities do, because there are people that like to keep their grass green, there are people that like to, and we've ran into that. We've had,
Yes.
especially if we have a rate increase, then we have citizens that, I mean, lose it. And I understand, right?
Yes.
My wife shut me down last year from watering the yard because our water bill started touching $400. Well, total bill started touching $400. I need to make sure I'm being complete there. But what some of the other cities do, I know Quinlan does it, and what was the others? Does it, where they do an average.
Rob Walden's too.
Right, and I only checked a few, and it was just people that I know in those cities that work there. And I can't remember the months, but
I remember, but go ahead.
they take a certain set of months and they set your sewer rate for the year.
Yes.
And then, so it doesn't matter if you use 100,000 gallons of water, then your sewer rate is only whatever it's set at, because they look at that. I think it's a 3-month average. So we have to think about that, because I think at some point for us to, I mean, we missed rate increases this year. I don't know if any of us really realized it, but this year's just flown past us so fast. We didn't have any rate increases. And, I've got family that lives right in another water district, and they went through 2 rate increases this year.
I'd like to expand on that. if I
Okay.
can.
Yeah, so I mean, they had 2 in already this calendar year. So I mean, the year's not even over yet, and they've already had two rate increases. So I bring that up, Michael, because I don't know how do you feel like that might affect this sewer rate?
Well, so first and foremost, I'm glad you stumbled on that, because I didn't know that. And when I started reaching out, it's almost like a benefit to the citizens, right? Because they're not paying this absorbent amount of money in the summer months.
It's
because
more
water
it's more
usage-
realistic.
It's more realistic.
Yeah, honestly.
And for those people who are actually paying outside city rates, it's a huge benefit for them that it's the same, it's consistent. And they base it off of February, March, and April.
There you
So you
go.
got a cold month, a spring, and then leading into summer. And so they take that average and you just pay that bill year round. So it doesn't matter how much water you use. And the other part to that is this,
Well, right on the sewer side.
on the sewer side.
Yeah, make
So,
sure that we don't put
The
something
other,
out there.
the
that
other
sounds-
parts of this, and this is also something that Kevin and I have been talking about now for like 2 years, is we started calling around and talking to other cities, trying to find out, why is it that they can do a rate increase and no one can even tell and we do an increase and everyone is ready to go to work.
Rockville didn't make one.
Well, what we're doing is we're bypassing 2, 3, 4 years, and then we're hitting everybody with an increase, which seems to me to be unfair. Because now their water bill is jumping way up here, which if you call everyone around us, they do little increases every year that the consumer can barely even notice. So, but we have got to find a way, when you look at this budget, you're gonna see how much everything has gone up over just the past year. In some cases, 40, 50%. So for us, we were starting to sink because we couldn't account for that. So anyways, I think, after we get through this portion, we need to sit down and really look at how can we make the sewer bill more consistent for our customers to where they're not paying all this money in the summertime, knowing it's not going down the drain. And number two, how can we do small increases that no one really feels?
Don't change, the usage does.
The usage is what changes.
Right.
Yeah. Well,
Well,
sewer does go up.
But it's so much higher in the summer because we're watering our lawns and where our rate is based on.
Right, and we're not collecting
Right.
water,
What
which
are
seems a
you
little unfair to me and
And
to
it's
Kevin.
not metered.
And, yeah,
What?
It's not,
Yeah,
it's not metered.
Yeah, there's no way to really.
Oh, yeah, no.
there's no way.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to kind of get us,
We
it's good
can lower the
information.
rate is what we're saying.
Mhm.
But my whole question, or reason for bringing that up was I was afraid that could definitely impact. If we were to
It
get
would.
something like that, I mean, we're gonna have to do an ordinance, all that stuff.
Right.
But if we were to get something like that going within this next year, then that could possibly impact this forecast.
Well, it would definitely take the number down to at least the 260 range, for sure. If we
Are you
did
talking about on the
sewer billing.
So,
Yes. Now, that's a rough guesstimate, but,
Yeah.
it would take it down.
Well, it needs to reflect a better number than that. That's a huge difference. That's over double. More than double. And then go down all the way to the bottom and where it's still almost double.
Well, the budget for this year was 1.8 and the new budget's 1.7. Pretty close to 1.8.
But it shows 1,799,193.
Right, and the current budget we're under is 1.8.
Right,
Previous one was higher than what it is this year's. What he
right,
said.
yeah.
I believe that bottom number is pretty close to accurate. Now, as far as the sewer billing, I can see that would need to come down some.
Well, you got the actuals let's see what last year's budget was. Yeah, 1,000,008 versus, so it's a little over, yeah, almost 2 million, 1.5 million on the bottom line, as far as income goes. Does anybody else have any other questions, comments, concerns? Big pardon?
You did them right on.
Anybody else?
So why don't you just take some water bills and play with them and see what happens? Take the highest ones and some of the lowest ones and average them like you're talking about and see how it would come out in the end of the year and what savings it would be, or if we'd be in the hole, or
Yeah,
that's not the way I know it is.
yeah, not a bad idea. I'm almost more concerned with after this new budget, that any income taxes, not water, but the one that's just been presented to the state.
You're talking
So if
about
we-
cutting property taxes.
Yeah,
To worry
that's what
about.
I'm worried, yeah.
If we take the actuals right now for your water, you're real close.
Mhm,
Are you talking about the
mhm.
water billing or,
Water,
no, wait, water, no? it's-
actually, if you take your actuals right now, we're sandbagging a little bit.
No big deal.
What line item are you looking at?
He's looking at
125
And what
to
he-
105.
what he's got in the
2105?
actuals and then looking at what it would be if they add the extra months on, that it would come out very close to that.
Yeah. But I thought we were talking water. This is.
That is water.
It says sewer
If
billing.
you take your, well,
It says 2105.1.
Well,
The one above it, I see.
Right above
Okay,
it's
never mind,
water.
disregard.
but I mean, even if you do your sewer, you're the same way.
Yeah, we're right, yeah.
I mean, you're really close, but if we were to change our sewer side, it may skew that number a little bit, so we might need to be conservative and back that down a little bit. That's only if we're planning on doing that. I mean.
Right, well, and we gotta get council approval to do it, but I think pretty much everyone would be on board with that.
Well, I mean, it's a service to the citizens.
Yeah.
Anything else? Anybody?
I don't have anything.
I guess we're gonna move on. Second page. Any comments, questions, concerns?
You want to cut back on overtime?
Good
Well-
question.
Very good question.
I mean,
We gotta have some relief somehow. I don't know what the answer is, but we need to strategically find it out, what that.
well, I
what
can,
that
I
match-
can
We
tell
know we're
you
gonna
this.
have overtime. You're not gonna.
Yeah, because you can't control the unforeseen, but I will
Right.
share this with you. So when you talk to some of the guys and say, hey, why don't you go home early today? You know, you've got 10 hours overtime. If you go home at lunch, you know, you get 4 hours, 4 hours goes back to us. Well, these guys that are answering the phone at 2 o'clock in the morning on Christmas Eve or on a 110-degree night, and they gotta come in and work a week. They don't want to hear that they need to go home early. They want that money. Now, with that being said, there are some that view it and go, oh man, it's 240 degrees outside. Yes, I'd love to go home. So there are some that are willing to say, you know what, I'll lose the overtime. I'm hot. It's been a hot day. I want to go home.
Well, there would be an exception to that rule.
So just give them an option.
I absolutely, we are giving them the option now. But again, you know, some guys, you know, they got families to feed, so so.
Understand that too.
And I understand that, but then we've got to try to get our people to understand that we're not a gadget building company, right?
Right.
So we're not putting out gadgets out the door to make a quota in order to build some sort of a profit or whatever.
Right.
So there's nothing that the city can truly do to create more profit in order to afford more overtime.
Right.
You know, and that's where at the end of the day, people have to realize where they work, right?
Right.
I mean, if you work for a place that puts out gadgets, and if you put out more gadgets, everybody makes more money, it's understandable, but we're not that, you know, the city is not that type of place to work.
I agree.
Now, there's different things that people get in the city than they do at a place that puts out all these gadgets, right? I work for a company that puts out gadgets, and if we put out more gadgets, then we all get more money.
Well, the only thing that I would say to that is I don't disagree with anything you're saying, but again, we deal with the unforeseen.
Right.
Lately, the guys are driving around in each neighborhood looking for leaks, and out of all the neighborhoods they've drove, they've found a leak here,
And I
there,
understand
and
that.
there, and we're trying to schedule them during the day where it doesn't affect us after hours. But there again, I mean, it happens. So the only thing that I can tell you is, you know, I think we're going to do a much better job as a whole this coming year, because for me, I didn't really start this until probably midway through the year of giving everyone that opportunity to go home if they wanted to. So I think next year you'll get a real true idea of what a full year of guys wanting to go home early looks like.
I would say you were dragging it down the runway. and
Yeah.
Now it's actually got some air under the wings, and
Yes.
the wheels are off the ground.
And for me right now, you know, it being summertime,
Yeah.
you know, most guys want to go home, get in that AC
Yeah.
instead of, you know, being outside.
But just
all day.
try to get the folks to believe in where they're working, right? And Leon said it, and everybody may not have heard it. Just got to find a happy medium.
Yeah.
You know, we don't want to pull everything out from under somebody from what they worked,
Right.
but you know, just say, okay, let's make a deal with this and call it, you can get 5 hours or whatever a week. I mean, that's what you're gonna have to figure out is take the math, divide it out and go, okay, we're just not gonna be able to allow much more than this a week in order to keep us safe,
Okay.
right? And let that be your rule of thumb and watch your budget. And if you get towards the end of the year and you get some bad leaks and you do need to pour the overtime in and you've got it in the budget, then guess what? You've been a good steward of your overtime all year long and you got it at the end of the year and you can let them work their overtime and pay them it. Right?
Right.
It's just simple numbers game. That's all it is.
Can we backtrack for just a minute back on that first page?
Yep.
Where it says 1252109 water sewer taps.
109, yeah.
It says 70,000 we budgeted last year and we used $40,700 this year and you've got a budget of 52,000. Is that gonna be enough, Mike, with all the growth we're expecting?
Which line, say that again, which
I
one?
know
On water
we gotta-
tap,
we
on
gotta have
water
that
sewer
building
tap,
issued within
1252109.
Well, we talked about this last year and, we thought that this year we would be closer to the $80,000 mark. Now, some of the builders did drag their legs for quite some time. But based on what we're seeing for this new year, I would much rather play it conservative than go out there and
Okay.
I'd rather be to the positive than to the negative on that one.
Thank you.
Isn't that right down behind the Kings and all that? Isn't there, you guys talking about 200?
So far, I mean, we've got about total between the 350 homes that are supposed to be built in the next 12 months. So you know how that goes. It all depends
Yeah.
on material and the market.
Right.
And all that stuff.
While we're there, do we think the garbage is gonna go up that much?
Well, line up.
I'll let the garbage down, sorry, I'm looking. Yeah.
Garbage billing.
Yeah,
It actually went down from last year's budget. Last year's budget, or the year we're in, was 185.
oh, I forget these actuals are.
Yeah, the actual, so, the year's not over. I think we're gonna be pretty close to the 180 mark by the time the
Okay,
year is
let
done.
me skip that.
Thank you, Mike.
Yes, ma'am.
Anything else on the second page? Is SRA going up on the new?
Yes.
Does this include I know they're doing an increase. But
They did, and this includes the increase. SRA went up on their water prices as well,
Okay.
so that's gonna affect us big time.
Are we just gonna roll the dice on fuel?
Well, I think, there's some things that we can do better that, we've talked about as far as when we get to a job site, keep one truck running. If it's 20 degrees outside or it's 110, have just one truck so they can get in to cool off instead of 2 or 3 trucks running. So I think on the fuel part of it, we can manage that better. So,
And you're about to have a tool that you can monitor that better. too.
yes.
Okay.
Are you talking about equipment fuel?
Just providing the vehicle fuel.
Oh, vehicle fuel, yeah, I don't want them right together.
We haven't done too bad on equipment fuel.
No, not considering. But it was a little bit of, we talked about this last year.
It's went up so much. I mean, you have no idea of knowing
I just
how
saw,
much it was gonna go.
And if no one's noticed, gas just went up last Thursday again.
Oh, yeah.
So, and it's supposed to go up again the 1st of September, and put us at $4 a gallon.
I just saw 3.59 a gallon.
Yeah.
That's hard to swallow. Okay, anybody else?
Contract labor,
Where we at? Water.
126, 111.7.
Yeah, I got it.
Are we looking at something for this next year? Or are we just figuring that, and we may have some of the same?
That all depends on licensing for this new budget year.
Well, 12,000 of that is, our, Mark Barnhill.
Yeah, well, that's what this year is gonna depend on is new licenses, so.
Okay. Very good.
Professional services, what is that, 13.5? are we gonna start, splitting up the attorney's fee between general fund and, water sewer?
Engineering.
I think
Well, it
that's,
says attorney and engineers, so,
Engineering.
no, primarily engineering. But it does, where's it showing here our, grants, so, because we're gonna pay that out of the grant.
right.
But I think most of those, engineering firms have a attorney proponent that comes with them. They've got their own attorney with them.
And so, 126, 1128, it seems awfully low for equipment maintenance and repair compared to what our history's been.
Well, that's just it. We've spent a lot of money on equipment, repair and maintenance. So, you know, right now, as we stand, everything's looking pretty good. So really what I'm accounting for is, you know, the unforeseen or, you know, tire or something like that.
Well, that's just the sewer, so there's not a whole lot of equipment that falls under that, right?
No, the
Well, water
water's
sewer
right-
really,
right
so if
above
you
it.
think about it, all these line items, water sewer really is
Yeah.
together.
I get it.
It's together. So if you look at those $2 amounts together, that, I believe that would cover us
And you raised it a little bit from last year.
a little bit.
But he spent a lot more
But you
last
spend.
year.
Yeah. Yeah,
So that's what worries me, if he
yeah,
had to
this
spend
new
that
budget
much
year,
again.
everything that could go wrong did go wrong.
Yeah, we had some unforeseen stuff.
Yeah.
I have a question on 126-1140 equipment purchases. I know you purchased some new equipment this year. Do you not need any more new equipment? I know you've gotten a lot of really nice things. Is that 10,000 gonna be enough to cover anything
Well,
unforeseen?
we need a new tractor, which is something we've talked about. But the thought was that, you know, we needed to wait one additional year to maybe take a look at that.
Because you talked about maybe doing the INS and doing it, I mean, through
Right.
that, or.
Well,
or
next
something else
year,
we talked about too.
INS, a couple of things are gonna drop off, and that's where I'm gonna come to you
Okay.
guys and ask for a couple of trucks, so.
Thank you.
What type of tractor do you need?
Just a small tractor. I don't know if you remember that on, we had that old Ford
Yeah, the mowing one?
and we never replaced it. And that New Holland it's really been put to task. So I know for sure that we're probably gonna look at a new shredder for the New Holland, but at some point we need to look at getting another tractor.
Get it for both, yeah.
You can borrow Kevin.
It just sits on their car. It's got quite a few city hours on it.
I was gonna say, you've done the park a lot.
Anything else on that page?
Yes. 126, 1145.
126. Oh,
It doesn't seem like we're using our budget very well there.
Well, actually, what that is there were some items that should go there that went into a different line item.
I was wondering that.
So, you know, this year, what we're gonna focus on is making sure, like, for instance, your water line improvement, sewer line improvement should be all your pipe.
Right.
So that also falls under the SSLI program for the state. So going forward, any pipe that is bought or pipe fittings will go under that line item.
So let me see if I've got this straight then. If we do that though, we're putting in what we're repairing in with what we're, instead of what we're just improving, if we do that.
So every year, we're supposed to replace a certain amount of feet of
Right.
water and sewer line.
Right.
So that's what your water and sewer line improvement is, and that's what the state wants to see. They want to know exactly how much did you replace.
Right. And for us to do it that adequately, we shouldn't put those two together, or every bit of pipe that we use, because what we're repairing should be kind of separate from what we're improving.
Well, to them, it's the same thing.
I know it may.
To them, it's the same thing. So, you know, we keep track of, you know, let's say what water lines we replace, what we replace them with, what we do the same for sewer. So for us as Public Works, we keep those two separate, but for the state, they just want to know that you're replacing line.
I guess I want to know you're replacing line too.
Right, everybody does.
That's where my heart is that we're replacing these lines and trying to get our city in a better situation than what it is right now.
Yes.
So I think what you and all of us citizens and council, what we look at as improvement is kind of what happened in my neighborhood. I think my neighborhood was the last one, wasn't it, Michael?
Yeah, it was the last one.
Which that was, 20-something years ago, I know that, at least. But that's a real improvement, right? In what we're seeing it as an improvement. Probably, we would never have our people, our public works people. That's never gonna happen. It's gonna have to be kind of like what that was, a grant. So that old trencher, I don't know if any of y'all have seen it, that old trencher was part of that grant
Yeah.
Yeah.
that did my neighborhood. So,
Do it, does it?
But if we budget this
Didn't do it.
amount, I want to see that
yeah,
amount.
no, my
again.
neighborhood was completely done. Jason
We've
Henderson
made some corrections
was
this year
working.
to ensure that the right item goes to that right,
Yeah.
that right place.
So-
But
so-
Arrowhead wasn't done
No,
during that grant, and we should have been, but it wasn't.
but I didn't live here then, but I don't know how that grant was all written or whatever. But I know that the citizens, part of that grant was citizens help, right? So citizens actually worked
That's right.
with the city personnel to do that replacement of water and sewer lines.
Yeah, even if it was coming outside, providing ice cold water
So
or
anyway.
whatever, so.
And that's what we're gonna have to hopefully at some point get it to a magnitude of what we all want to see as an improvement. But to what Michael was saying, if they go in and there's a leak and they replace 10 or 15 or 20 foot of line and 2 valves or whatever, that's considered improvement because they're taking out the old pipe, putting new pipe in place of that old pipe.
Well, and also just to add to that, like a massive undertaking for us, like on Telephone Road a few years ago when we had to replace, I think it was 300-400 feet. That was a lot for us as a public works department. 300-400 feet at a time is a lot. So you have neighborhoods like Arrowhead where you've got a mile to do.
Yeah.
So,
And it needs it bad,
Yeah,
because we get brown water. It is bad.
we're all very aware of it.
So
Just,
Yeah, I just want to see that money used. If we
me too.
give you that money, we want to see that money used.
is there any way to isolate
It did.
cases within the neighborhood that may be worse than the other part of the neighborhood?
There
or just a
is,
shot in the
and
dark?
really what we need to be able to do, and we're struggling to get some of the residents to get on board with it, is we need to add some more flush points in different strategic locations. And we've had some people who are like, hey, yeah, absolutely, anything that'll help. And we've had some that go, if you put that in my yard, I'm gonna break it. So, it's kind of it's a mixed bag on who's willing to help and who's not willing to help. But if we could strategically add another 5 or 6 flush points, that would completely change the outlook of that entire
Well, you
neighborhood.
can put them in over there, Arrowhead.
Around the water property. Maybe it's like on
You
straight
need to-
properties.
If you'll
Well,
tell
there's a
me,
lot that goes into it.
if
It's
you
not
tell me
simple,
who it
it's
is that
complex.
you need, I'll talk to them. I don't mind talking.
Well, I got a few names I'll pass your way.
a little off budget.
We don't ever really get greeted with, hi, we're glad you're here.
Can we go back up to 1141, the maintenance and supplies? It looks like you're about 7,000 light on that from what you spent.
Well, I was waiting on this one. I even wrote a side note because I figured someone was gonna ask me about this one. So just to kind of explain maintenance supplies and parts. So if you guys remember last budget year, when Frontier came to town, we had a record number of leaks for this city.
Yes.
So we're well over 100, and Frontier caused, I think it was 59 leaks. So we always had a backup supply of certain parts going into each year. We always had a backup amount in case the mess hit the fan. Well, the mess hit the fan. And we burned through every single part that we had. When we went to reorder these parts, some parts that cost $7 are now $32. And I've got to have a certain amount on hand. So dressers, wraps, any type of brass, poly to poly, PVC to poly, those parts we have to keep on stock for leaks. Well, they've gone up 30-40%. So when we go out and we make that order, we refill what we've used, we spend a whole lot more money than what we anticipated. So
Is there a particular size that we could, just really overbuy? Really,
if you look in the shop right now, we have on hand about 5 dressers and 5 wraps of every size.
Yeah, but I'm talking bigger number than that.
Well, I mean,
20 or
before last year happened, we had anywhere from 10 to 15 parts in each size.
Can you buy them in bulk a lot cheaper?
We can't afford the type of bulk that they would want us to buy. To get the cost down, let's say on a 6-inch dresser, which costs you, $60, $80, I would have to buy about 20 or 30 of them at a time to get a few dollar reduction in price.
And how long would that last you?
It depends. It's situational. Last year we had well over 120, 130 leaks. This year, it's been nice.
I'm screwed up now.
Yeah, that's why I tapped on the wood.
But they don't go bad, right?
I think
it's real.
Behind you.
They don't go bad, but I think we need to think about being realistic too, because if we try to stock too much stuff, we don't have that big a facility.
Right, we don't.
Right.
and
So to keep it organized and to keep these parts in good repair, if we're trying to overstock too much of it, and at the end of the day, right now they have 5 of each, what you're saying.
Yeah, of each size.
So, I mean, they're not gonna use all one day.
No.
Right? They might use 3 in one day,
Yeah.
but then that's easy. You use
We
3,
go get 5 more.
you go get 5 more.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I think you're probably on a good pace.
I think we recovered from last year, but I think it's reflected right here in the line item Leon brought up, because that just shows you, we went through what we thought we had at least 2 years worth of parts. We went through in about a 4-month span, but that was one time. It never happened before that, and I don't foresee that happening again.
So you think you're fine being 7,000 light on that?
I think, again, we need to be more conservative, and I know I said that last budget year, and then Frontier came to town, but
Well, we had one leak that they cost us, $900 something.
you're talking about the Rabbit Cove one? Yeah, that was $1,800.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah,
It ended up being 2 of them.
Do we not get any reimbursement from them for that?
no,
Did we sign some kind of contract saying we wouldn't charge them for that?
no, and going forward,
As a city, we kind of missed the boat because we don't have anything as far as permits and all that. So it's going to be kind of hard to go back on somebody when you don't really have anything in place to go at them with.
right.
So we have nothing in place in our city when a contractor like that comes in and does work that kind of gives them any kind of a fire to be held to.
How come you don't have that in place?
Well, we're learning a lot
so
as we go
we're-
recently.
Still probably,
You're updating documents?
we're still probably, I mean, we might be a little bit better than 40 years behind. Maybe it's 39, 38.
I will say
I've made
this,
that statement publicly so many times, so I think we've made progress, but
Situation, fix it.
I've been here for 4 years, so we maybe made a year,
Yeah.
but it's still progress.
You're talking about city work?
What else we got?
No.
We can move on to something else.
No, you're talking about.
So,
Yes.
page 3, 4,
Yeah.
2, 3, 4, 4, page 4.
I think you can number on your page, that's what I did.
We quit doing our own boring. We have a boring machine, and we've done some boring ourselves. So we knew what to look for. The problem was there were 10 different crews that kind of one time to support us. So we couldn't keep up with all the crews.
All right, moving on, page 6. No,
Sir?
no,
We keep it forward.
we're on 4, so I thought we just finished 4.
We just did 3.
Okay, so what page are we on now?
4,
I got you.
126.1147.1.
147.
That's the first
Yeah, I got it.
bid or,
Fair man.
Now I'm going to lift stations. How are the lift stations doing?
Let's see here. Station crews.
All
right, so-
1153.
I'll move up a couple of lines here. So on some of the pumps and motors and things of that nature, what we've learned over the past couple of years, is there are some things that should be going into lift station repair and maintenance, and there are other things that should just go into pumps and motors. So if you look at what we've got budgeted and what we've spent, lift stations, this budget year has just been a thorn in our side. We've replaced 6 pumps, 4 motors. We've had, I think, 6 or 8 motors rebuilt. But with that being said, doing all that work this year puts us in much better shape for next year.
What's it cost us to rehab one?
To rehab one lift station, today's price is $32,000.
Is that that dog?
So if we have one go out, we just barely have enough in the budget to take care of one. If it's 32,000.
That would be a total rehab.
Yeah, everything on it's not.
Yeah, that's total rehab. As of right now, we just replaced a pump or a motor. So,
Contactors, whatever.
yeah,
Just whatever it
it's
needs.
mainly electrical.
How long do you think our lift stations are gonna last?
Well, we had 5 rehabbed 4 years ago, and we are definitely due to have another 4 or 5 rehabs. But we got to get through the water plant rehab before we can move on to that. So right now, what we're doing is every single day, we're attacking 4 or 5 lift stations every morning. It's part of our chores, and we just make our rounds.
We're 22, right?
23. Luckily, our submersible lift stations have proven to be the better way to go. They tend to hold up a whole lot better than our above ground lift stations do.
Okay. Anybody else on page 4? Moving on to 5. Yeah, this is available if you want a copy of it. Just come up here tomorrow and ask for request a copy for one. I don't know if we'll have time to get it for you that minute, because we're running a little short-handed. We have so many training and everything else, but I just want to make sure that this information is public information. So
That's good
if
information.
you want some,
That's good.
So just to bring something to y'all's attention, 126.3218.1, which is the road bores. I've had to reach out here recently because we're about to do a road bore on Maze Lane, right there at the corner of Rapids Cove and Maze Lane. And the prices have gone up. So I was gonna ask if we could change that from 2,000 to 3,000. I think to play it safe, I need to do that.
we just same company do all that to do a road boring.
Yes, sir, I do have one main company that we use, but I have 2 or 3 backups just in case.
Yeah, and I think we did it, and I'm just reiterating something we've talked about for years now, is trying to find the cheapest route. And, I know we're already doing that, I'm just reiterating the same thing.
Right. I have 2 things to think about. One, local, and the other one is the most cost-effective way to go about it.
Yeah. Okay, anybody on page 5? Moving on page 6. I don't, that's, in the future, that's where, we're gonna have to about to vote on that. This year has really not been a bad year as far as employees, as far as turnover and all that. This is one of the better years I've seen.
It's crazy. This is probably, in my opinion, I've been here 9 years.
It's all together. Yeah.
This is the best crew we've ever assembled.
Yeah, it is.
And it's like, we're like a family.
We did lose one person, and I tell him to go do it again if it was from our money, but quite a bit of money, and he ended up coming back.
Yes.
So, but he's a young kid, and he thinks the grass is always greener, and it's not. I've never seen no turnover before.
Well, let me say this. I think it's a reflection of all the hard work that we're all putting in, because we're pretty close, and I can tell you right now, we don't have anyone that's disgruntled at all. And I mean that when I say that for employees. So. And I
Do you see that you may need someone else on your crew?
I think so, but I would rather play it safe and just see how the year goes. And if we're doing good, then it'd be nice to have one additional person, but I don't want to count on that right now.
Just wanna make sure
Having
your
the
staff well
additional
enough.
water taps and sewer taps would spur that. So
Of course, that brings in income to help pay for that salary.
Right.
On this payroll list that we gave, it says finance secretary. Do we have a name for that? A person?
We do. Her name is Mary.
But
Which is accounts payable.
It's accounts payable.
Thank you.
It's council payable, and she, by the way, love her, she's doing great.
all right, anybody else got anything on, water sewer?
No, sir.
This, I need y'all's input here now. Do we move forward with, general fund and stop somewhere in between, or do y'all wanna do general fund tomorrow? It'll be a full, we're not gonna do it in an hour. I don't think we can, I mean, it's pretty thick.
Last time we did water sewer one day, general fund the next day, and approved all
Last
of
couple of
it.
years, that's how we've done it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But they all moved through them pretty good, but I tell them,
this is the biggest one, it looks like.
I'd rather see us do it Wednesday night.
given
Do
the
it all at
way,
once.
Mayor, but given the way we wrote our agendas up, can we?
Yes, you can.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It says,
right now,
everyone
it's all-
else says-
Budget
Yeah.
workshop, it's,
Is it possible to get one of these for the general fund that's up to date with the actual?
Annette's doing the, Annette's doing the records. I can call her tomorrow.
Are you talking about this, not 6/21?
All you
Yeah,
have to
it
do
needs to
is
be
just
8/11
change the
or
action.
like
Yeah.
like this.
I'm
one
Because
over
we're
here.
having to go back.
It's too much trouble, we've got to figure out what you paid after this.
it's 2 months.
Yeah, it's a lot to figure.
Yeah.
You know, when I'm asking questions about something that I
Yeah.
go over here and find the answer, but
Yeah,
it's a lot of trouble.
I agree.
Good job on this, Mike.
We're gonna move in on general fund?
Or do we wait?
What's the
Good job,
consensus? Robin?
Y'all wanna work on general fund some, or you wanna go home?
I don't care, whatever you want to do.
30 minutes.
Be in the middle of it.
Yeah, I'm good with it. I mean, anything we get done on it,
You wanna, so you wanna get this, you wanna do the income and, water sewer, not water sewer, public general fund, income?
Well, since I'm here, we could do my portion of it, since the chief is.
Where are you at?
We just do water sewer right now.
You know,
Do roads and park.
there you go. I know you
Oh,
got
that
questions.
way you don't
I
have
got-
to come there.
Yeah.
Water,
You let me off the hook?
That's not convenient. Y'all let me.
We'll get off the hook. He'll be here. He likes it.
I'll work with this.
You know,
No, I didn't bring them.
Public works or-
Yeah, I guess is that what you said? We'll start public works?
that was the first thing, as far as water or sewer related, the first one I come to. 8/11.
Page 7.
Or are you gonna look?
Oh,
Page
he's.
7.
Oh, yeah, you're looking at the P and L though, Mayor.
Oh, yeah.
Grab your other packet, you'll have,
General fund.
Yeah, I didn't bring the package.
Yeah. That's all right.
What day is it on?
It's
Then we
second
went
tomorrow,
to 16.
16th package.
16.
yeah, 1.72,
Yeah, it's on page
that's where we're gonna
7.
start, right?
Can I bring something up before we get rocking and rolling?
Yeah, it's a workshop.
One of the things that we need to create, line items we need to create for this new budget is one for road income because we've had some neighborhoods who have, their HOAs have invested in making some repairs in their neighborhoods. And when they're writing us a check, it's going into income instead of roads, right? So, well, we don't have anything for roads, so it has no specific line item to go to. So we need to create a line item for roads income. And, which one am I forgetting, Kevin? Because there was another one that we needed to create a line item for it.
Impound expenses,
I can't remember now.
donated material expenses.
Under cost, under expenses.
I don't remember.
Should be a debit.
But there should be a subdivision
Well,
road
we're gonna have
renovation and impound
Yeah.
and
Those park income,
park income, that's it.
which we have a park income, but this was, what was it? Maybe it was the back. Hang on.
Well, I think, didn't someone want to give to the park, or was it,
Like a donation or something like that.
yeah, I don't remember.
Should be. That would be.
I don't know, I may have to get back to you guys on that, and I apologize. I know one is road income for sure.
Are we on 12-52-000?
We are on,
1.72.
I think, yeah, 1.72 is the first public works.
They're all jumbled up here. See, I'm not sure.
It's gonna be connected to your agenda for the 16th.
And that should be it.
That's what I've got.
Right there, it should be page 7.
Well, I don't know if it was, Michael, I think, you and I were talking about that. What the concern was, remember, is we didn't know how we would budget that because we don't really know what's gonna be given.
I'm sorry.
We don't know what's really gonna be given, that's the thing.
Right.
That was, so I guess it would just have to be a road donation.
But is that really what you want to call it?
Yeah, because that's really what it is. I mean, they're making a donation to the road fund.
No, actually what they're doing is they're making a donation to getting the material, right?
The material and the
Yes.
trucking it in and the labor to do it.
Okay,
On the
so,
road.
yeah, you probably do need something that says, you know, subdivision road donations is what she's got down here.
Yeah, it's just gonna have to be a donation line item because it's gonna be hard to budget that. I mean,
Yeah.
Or reimbursement.
See, that was kind of my thought, but I don't know. I guess it really doesn't matter what we call it. We just need to have a line item for it.
Well, yeah, reimbursement, you're not really budgeting anything for it because you don't know what it is.
So donation probably then.
I don't know.
I don't know it.
I think what she's got is probably what we need. On that, on page 2, she's got it as income here, and then she's got it over here as expense. So whatever it ends up being, it would be, equal out whatever we got in the donations, what we used out will be equaling each
Looks
other.
good.
Looks like you put 5,000 on there. All right.
Okay, we'll get started on 1.72.
Yes.
1. What?
1.72000.
Page 7,
Page 7.
public works.
Oh, I don't have my original with me, Kevin, the numbers that we sat down and we talked about. So, 174,102, where it says contract labor.
Yep.
We increased that to 35,000.
Not 22,950?
No, this doesn't have, my updated numbers on it, which that's fine. I can remember what they were.
So 35,000?
Yes, 35,000. And then on line item number sand, yeah, we wanted to keep rock and sand, I believe, the same, right, Kevin? We were gonna keep that the same for this year?
You got 48,000.
No, that's not correct. We were gonna take that to, 50 and 45, I thought. I wish I had that.
The proposed budget on oil street paving materials is way off, I think.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Well, the cost doubled for the
Oh,
road
no.
material. You know, we went for oil sand, we went from 17
The 82.
to 22 to, 42 and then 82.
Michael,
So,
do we need to wait on this until you get your paper that you're missing?
yeah, I'm sorry, yeah.
I'm guessing then.
Because
Yeah,
I had reached
I'm
I'd
out,
rather just wait and do it
I'm
one
trying to
time.
remember, that's been 3 weeks since you and I.
well, and I reached out to our vendors where we get the material from, and I got updated costs, and I wrote those numbers down because the cost went up even again.
What'd
The
you
cost
find
is
out,
going up
what'd you
again in
find out about
September.
16 loads?
I got all the information on that. I'm going through it right now.
Okay.
I got every bill, every invoice.
Yeah, you need to get that, because
Yeah.
we ironed through that. I think it was, actually, I think it was 60 and, I think it was 60 and 45.
Have we,
I think it was 60 and
Wait
45.
till you get your stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
have we considered moving away from the rock sand and doing more of the reclaimed asphalt?
It seems to be working out. I mean, it's the first year
Really
we've ever
nice.
tried it, and it seems to be holding up. As long as you pack it right and it's hot, it sticks.
And we just
So-
got, and we just got our own packer.
And we just bought a packer.
And we
So-
just-
Old-
and we
old
just
sand?
have a lot of
Yeah.
heat.
No, we're talking about reclaimed
Reclaimed
asphalt.
Oh, okay.
So reclaimed asphalt, if it's set right, acts just as good, if not better than old sand, which is amazing because I never knew that. And we tried it out on a couple of roads. It worked out great. So then we decided we would, because it's so much more cost effective to go with reclaimed asphalt than it is old sand.
What's the cost?
Old sand right now, if you're talking plus trucking, is $2,200 a load. Right
What
now,
And the
It's
reclaimed asphalt?
600 and some odd dollars for reclaimed asphalt plus
Yeah.
trucking.
The reclaimed asphalt is working good. It
Yeah,
really is.
I put a
You got
drive,
it in your neighborhood?
Well,
Yeah.
you got old sand too. Oh, yeah, y'all brought in some.
Yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, I put a driveway in my neighborhood for somebody like a year ago. That's what I told him. I said, dude, you gotta try it.
It's really good.
It's working out great. So our thought was, and we have beat this into the ground, but the plan was to really make an impact in the first 2 years and really touch every road. But if we're doing it with this reclaimed asphalt, we'll hit every road in this town and we'll have reclaimed asphalt on every road in this town, even rock roads.
What can we
And they
do?
last really well from whatever I'm
Yeah.
hearing. I talked to several other people well, actually in Arkansas, because they use that up there a lot. And they said that it will last longer than your rock sand sometimes.
Well, we've looked at certain roads, like, I'll take Friendship, for example. We had planned on going towards Olsen to seal that road in. We needed a few more loads of rock and then we're gonna seal it and cap it with Olsen. But now that we've looked at the price differential between the reclaimed asphalt, it makes more sense to do that and you still have a solid road. So, and it's gonna be a third of the price.
Yeah, you can do it 3 times if you
Yeah.
want.
Sometimes if we
Yeah.
need to. Yeah.
So
Really
now
nice
that
to
we've
do that.
kind of found out what the
Like a
secret
bag.
is, we've been trying it out this year.
It's hard to get
It
rock.
seems to be working.
But it has to be hot outside. It can't be when it's cool.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But
Well,
the same
it-
way with rock sand, it
That's
still
right,
has to
that's
be
the-
hot.
It is, so you can get it to set, but it doesn't set as good as it would in, July and August. Now, as far as doing rock roads, that's a little different. We can work those in the wintertime. And we've even learned lessons on that too. For many, many years, we've used flex base. And so we started using the crushed concrete, and it is a night and day difference how well that road will hold up. So, anyway, sorry.
Are we getting that from RKL?
No, we get that from Arcosa.
Who did the road beside the Circle K down there?
I don't know, because for the city, we actually stop right there at the T.
Right.
So I don't know. who that
Somebody
was.
did it from the
Yeah, from
from
the top of the T
concrete
down.
to the top, yeah.
Right.
I saw them, they had a heck of a machine
Well,
on the skid loader.
Yeah, look at a reclaim.
It would look like a tiller.
That's what I mean,
Yeah.
like a little reclaimer machine is what it looked like.
And it turned out to be pretty good. I saw the school bus going 80 miles an hour down.
What it would take, because DOT checks dot,
Okay.
rebuild, when they do a road, they take it all up.
Right.
Yeah, that
Yeah.
part, I don't know, somebody moved the sign is what I think.
So are we're gonna,
Wait,
Yeah,
So
I-
the city
Yeah, I
wants
think we
some,
just need to back up.
We'll wait till
it's actually located versus.
Before we get ourselves sideways,
Yeah.
and we end up costing ourselves more
not tomorrow
time.
night,
When,
Wednesday.
So you need number 7,
That's right. That's right.
Mayor.
That's what it is, we're just got the road, we don't have all.
Oh, yeah.
That's where
Sorry, I didn't get this. Yeah, I need a number 7.
Okay, I make a motion, we adjourn.
second,
All in favor?
Kevin Feathers.
Leon, Meyer.
Pam Reed.
Give her- give her-
That's great.
Five.